Hello and welcome back to Keeping Your Business on Track. I'm your host, Joe Harris. I have a very special guest today. Coming back is Nicki Jenne.
Yes.
And Nicki is, she works at Prestige.
Yes, I work at Prestige Title now. Used to be over here at Morgan Financial. Fun fact. Actually was on the opposite side of the table, always asking the questions to Joe. So now
much for roles have turned.
Roles are reversed.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
Nicki, thanks so much for joining us today. How's everything going?
It's going great. Thank you for having me. I was really honored and, of course, flattered that whenever you guys were talking about doing brand awareness and marketing stuff that you wanted me to come on. So thank you for having me. I always love my Morgan Financial peeps.
Yeah, we had a topic we were going to talk about is building business through brand awareness, and working with Nicki for about 5 years, right?
6
years. Sorry, I lost one.
You lose track when you're having fun.
Yeah, that's true. Nicki is outstanding, has always been really good at doing brand awareness type things and building business through it. So I thought, who would be better than Nicki to do the show with me today? So thank you very much for joining us. So on that topic, we are talking about building brand awareness.
Yeah.
What is brand awareness?
Well, I guess in its simplest form, brand awareness is the awareness of a brand and the distinctiveness of a brand compared to its competitors. So obviously we live where there's multiple different, organizations and companies out there. And so it's just what differs you from your competitors with your goods, your services, and what you have to offer. Yeah.
And so in our market, let's just say, or any market, what do companies do for brand awareness? Like, what are some things they might do to promote their brand?
So there's a lot of different things that you can do to promote your brand. Obviously, that's changed over the years. Excuse me. And so a couple of things that in real estate, mortgages, title, whatever it might be, there's the grassroots method, which, I know that you're really familiar with as well, which is just kind of going out there, building those relationships and telling everybody about your brand. But then we also have the digital age nowadays.
Right.
So there's things like doing videos, doing podcasts, things like this. Posting on social media, LinkedIn, YouTube, these are all tools essentially, but the actual strategies themselves are kind of more of the video podcast and posting and whatnot whenever it comes to the digital things.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of people doing the podcast, which is great, and all the brand awareness events. But does brand awareness can that alone get you business?
Unfortunately, no. I know it's kind of one of those things. I always it's like the intrinsic value of brand awareness. It's, and as an organization, sometimes it's there, and we'll probably get into this as well. Like there's very, sometimes difficult ways to know if it's working or if it's not working. Some of the metrics that go behind it, as well, which I'm sure that we'll dive into. But brand awareness alone does not just work just to get you business. However, I actually watched, this might be a tangent, but I actually watched Air last night. Have you seen that movie?
Yeah, it's an awesome movie.
Super awesome about Nike. If you haven't watched it, definitely do it. A lot of great names in the video or in the movie as well. But essentially, the brand awareness that Nike has now, and that's about Nike and Michael Jordan and how they kind of built their brand around him. But essentially, that's not the only thing that they could do, But now, years and years later, I think, and we'll maybe get into this as well, like later brand awareness can essentially bring you business, but you have to, if you're starting from somewhere, if you've never had brand awareness, then no, it will not just bring you business. So you've got to do other things. So I know in the marketing funnel, brand awareness is definitely, if a funnel's like this, brand awareness is very much at that top. You're capturing the largest audience. And then as you kind of move down that funnel to the sales process, and then that's when you actually convert into actual business. So
yeah, you mentioned it well, maybe you didn't mention this exactly, but it kind of helps get you business down the road, or makes it easier to get your foot in the door when people know, because they see you on social media, they might say, oh, I know that person. You build a little bit of trust, but it alone, it might get you business down the road. I mean, people know the Air Jordan logo, right? And when they see that, they recognize that because the brand's been built for so many years that now it might translate into business,
right?
Because they like that, they have some trust in the Jordan logo. It's nice that we got caught on that topic.
Yeah,
that was a great movie, by the way, and it's not about Michael Jordan. It's about building that brand. Over around him. They didn't even show his face in the movie.
I know. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah,
but you kind of touched on it too, kind of going back to, does building, or does brand awareness get you business? Well,
Right.
you kind of mentioned know, like, trust. That's part of the brand awareness. And then you have to add something of value. So that's where
Right.
that sales process comes in, that you do have to still have a piece of value, whether it's in your goods or your services, to the actual consumer at the end of it too.
Right.
So,
And this topic comes up because I know in times of, when there's market industry troughs, we'll say,
Switches, yeah.
when there's pivots in the industry and shifts, that people are like, okay, well, the market's changed. What do I need to do to build my business? And so they typically tend to go towards, and I don't want to call it the easy button, but they typically tend to go towards the things that cause them the least amount of pain, thinking that's going to cause them, give a bigger return than it may or may not.
yeah.
And so I just, the reason why I want to put this out there is I see a lot of this going on, a lot of the social media, the videos, the podcasts. This is a podcast. But if there's not a lot going on behind that,
Right.
will it translate into business? And I think if you're using the top of the funnel, which I agree, this kind of thing is top of the funnel. Now we have a team of loan officers who are doing things behind the scenes, and this allows us doing the top of the funnel allows them to do farther down the funnel.
Right.
Whereas I see a lot of people, loan officers, doing top of the funnel, or real estate agents, and if they're not doing the things beyond that, it could, I don't want to say spell disaster, because there's a lot of great loan officers and agents doing it, but it's not going to translate into business.
Right.
So how do you, sorry.
Or I was going to say, or even have the highest effect.
Right.
And so, like, one complements the other. You can't have one without the other. You can't just, you had mentioned it too, like the marketing piece of the brand awareness, of getting out there and letting everyone know about your brand and who you are. And then also doing the activities. If someone was just doing the activities of calling and saying, oh, hey, I'm, Joe at Morgan Financial, but they didn't have any brand awareness, they'd be like, I don't know who this Joe guy is. I don't know why he's calling.
Don't know who Morgan Financial is.
Don't know any of that. So you need that brand awareness for that. And then vice versa. You can't have, if you just put it out there and do the top of the funnel and don't follow up with the conversion piece of the funnel, the call to action is what we are moving towards, then it's not going to actually translate into business.
Right. And I see a lot of people so if I was a loan officer, I wouldn't even do the top of the funnel stuff unless I had 4, 5, 6 loans a month under my belt,
Right.
Consistently. Then that might leave you to branch out to build the brand awareness. Real estate agent, same thing. But then again, it's like a chicken or the egg thing.
Yeah.
Which came first, the brand awareness or the business?
Right.
You got to get the business to build your brand, or do you build your brand to get the business? So which did come first, the business building or the brand awareness?
In my opinion, it's the brand awareness that comes first. Now, it's not just, let me just talk about that. There's a lot of strategy that goes behind it, as far as, identifying, again, what makes you unique. We call it USPs, unique selling points, figuring out who your target market is, who is your ideal client. If it's everybody, that's a bit broad, and you might have a difficult time trying to figure out what your brand truly is. And then also just identifying who you are as whether you're an individual, as a real estate agent, what are those core values? What do you want to seek? And what do you want to be known for? And then you start there. And then obviously that's when the other strategies and tactics then develop from that. Then from there, then actually doing the call to actions, following up.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So what strategies, if you want to point out specific ones, but what strategies have you seen work converting that business from the brand awareness?
Ooh, good question. Okay. I'm all about offering value. So the education piece, and obviously, a lot of that comes from my experience being here at Morgan Financial, is we did a lot of education classes. Sure. And so you're building, whether or not anyone knew you or didn't know you, you're offering that invite because you're going to offer education to them. So to me, the education piece, the classes, kind of really honing in on that, to me, is the highest impact. It's a high impact, high result. So in my opinion, that's definitely the classes, education. In real estate world, I would say, right now, I think this is me just personally. I'm not a real estate agent, but I will say what I've seen work is the video. Video is where it's at. You can reach a lot of different people. You can build new relationships as well as harvest old relationships. People might not know what you're doing, and then all of a sudden someone from 5 years ago or someone from your childhood all of a sudden sees that you're doing real estate because you're putting it out there with that video. You can reach a lot of people that way.
So my next question was going to be, when doing brand awareness, what should agents and loan officers focus on? So is that to say that video is where they should focus, or is there education in video?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, but yeah, if you could put marry the two together, I think that's awesome.
Cool.
You know, even doing things like, I think you guys are obviously doing all the right things with the podcast too. We're filming it. We're giving education, giving value.
Right. Trying to.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
Cool.
I can tell you, after leaving, everyone, because we talk about this all the time whenever I was here too, is like, I don't even know if anyone's listening to this podcast. But I'll tell you that they are.
Okay, good.
I still am. I'm still a subscriber, 5 stars. But a lot of people would even recognize and be like, oh, you're the one on the podcast. And I was like, oh, what do you think?
Someone actually watched it.
I was like, wow, we're really doing it.
Yes.
We're really doing it, Joe. So,
all right.
but yeah, I think that people are watching it and they do find value.
Cool. Well, that's good. I mean, and I do see, it's hard to be unique and different.
Mm-hmm.
There's no new or unique ideas out there.
No.
But the fact is, and when we started this podcast, it was just like, we're doing this and we did it, and just to be consistent with it. And that's, I think the biggest problem is that people start doing the brand awareness and they give up. And they give up, and like they let it go a month or 2 months or 1 or 2 times, and they give up. Well, if you know anything about social media or YouTube, the algorithms expect this. Mm-hmm. They expect you to give up, and they punish you for the first 90 days, and they want you to give up.
Yeah.
Right. And then but if you push through that pain, it's like working out. Mm-hmm. And you go to the gym expecting results the first day, you're going to be sadly mistaken and upset, and your expectations are not going to be met because you're not going to have real results for 30, 60, 90 days.
Right.
It's the same thing with social media, brand awareness, video, podcast, it doesn't matter. If you're not willing to do it for at least a year without seeing real results, you're not going to make it. It's not going to, in my opinion, it's not going to have the same effect as that, and you're not going to be seen by the amount of people, but you got to be consistent with it.
Absolutely. That was definitely one thing I was going to touch on, was the consistency.
Consistency, right.
Yeah. There's no quick, easy button.
There's no easy button.
No. Unfortunately, it's
you
not.
You might get lucky.
You can absolutely get lucky. And that's what it's kind of what sometimes keeps you going. So you're like, woohoo, I did it. And then,
it does take a while though. It is tedious. It is repetition. It can be mundane when you're doing it, but you got to love the results. You got to love the process.
Yeah.
What suggestion would you give to a new agent or a loan officer looking to get involved and do more brand awareness of things, or a campaign? What suggestions would you give that person?
That was kind of, whenever I was originally looking over these questions, that was going to be my suggestion, was the just doing it piece. Number one, it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to have these fancy microphones. We didn't start with these, by the way. These are really nice. You don't have to have all of the fancy equipment. So just, having the courage to do it. We always say, like, you're your own worst enemy. So just getting over that piece. Done is better than perfect.
Done is better than perfect.
And then the consistency piece is by far the biggest thing with branding and brand awareness, is just continuous. That, it's 7 times before anyone ever hears, probably even remembers your name. Yeah. Right. It's like, and then after that, then it's 10 times before they realize, oh, they do real estate or they're in mortgages or title or whatever it might be. And then 15 times that they're like, oh, this applies to me. So.
Yeah. I think that consistency is what will distinguish you from your peers, because a lot of people start it and they give up. They give up way too soon. So great advice coming from someone who is a brand awareness expert, building business for brand awareness.
Expert. Wow. Thanks, Joe.
Nicki, I do have the 3 questions for you.
Okay.
These are the pop quiz. I didn't put this on this list.
Oh, bonus. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Pop quiz.
Okay.
You should be able to get these though.
I hope so.
Okay. Number 1, do you have a favorite book?
I do have a favorite book.
Do you want to share?
I will. It's because you introduced me to this book as well. Not to like toot your horn too much, but How to Win Friends and Influence People.
That's my favorite book.
I know.
Also my favorite book.
And you had given me a suggestion a long time ago to read it every year. So I do challenge myself every January to read it over again. I share it all the time.
Good.
So that's definitely my favorite book.
I wish we could figure out a way to get a referral fee for sharing the book.
I know.
That'd be awesome.
We need to write out to
But it is a good book. That's the referral fee I get, is that people get joy out of the book.
Yes.
Number 2, do you have a favorite movie?
I do, but I don't think I should share it.
No, that's the best kind of share. Oh, let's just keep it PG or at least R or below.
It's not an R-rated movie, I don't think. It might be, but it's The Girl Next Door. You probably don't even know.
I do. It's Alicia
Cuthbert
yes,
and Emile Hirsch. I just think it's so cute. Like, if I was to tell you the plot line of it, you might think I'm crazy, but I'm not going to get into it. I just think it's a really cute, just like feel good movie. I know that's very
that's
random.
The first time I've heard that one.
I know.
Fair enough.
Very weird.
Now, finally,
Okay.
Who has influenced you most?
You, Joe.
Oh, stop it.
No, that's the truth.
Stop.
You already know how. Joe is already my mentor. Here.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate the comment.
So,
well, that's going to wrap it up on that one.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Nicki.
Thanks, Joe.
Always a pleasure. Great to have you back in the seat. We'll have to have you come back more often. Good to see you.
I'd love to come back.
Please, out there, share, subscribe. Nicki's with Prestige. They do a great job over there. If you have title questions or otherwise, they have some of the best in the industry over there. So please give them a shout out. Other than that, that's all I got.
Thanks, Joe.
Good. Thanks for coming on.
See you later.
All right.
I don't know what we're doing.
I don't know either.